What would you sacrifice to save yourself? I've been leading up to this new year with motivation, pushing you to think bigger, dream harder, and see what's possible. But today, it's story time. Let me tell you what it took me to save my life. When I walked out of prison, everything felt loud, overwhelming. Freedom didn't feel free. It felt fragile. Like one wrong move could shatter it. And I knew myself. I knew the patterns I'd fallen into before. And if I didn't cut everything out, I'd lose again. So I sacrificed it all. I moved into a room at my parents' house where my kids had been staying, a place full of love and second chances, but love didn't mean safety, not yet. I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust the pull of old habits or old people. I didn't call anyone. I didn't visit friends. I didn't even reach out to the ones who had written me letters while I was inside. They were my lifeline then, but out here, I couldn't risk it. I shut out the world and disappeared. Megan was the only person I allowed to stay close because I needed to start over, and I couldn't afford any distractions. That isolation saved me. It was brutal and lonely, but it was my only shot. Okay, so 6 months in, I decided to go to the store. Just a simple grocery run. But nothing about life after prison is simple. As I walked into the marketplace, someone called my name. Before I could turn, they were on my back, arms wrapped around me, and it was a voice I recognized, someone from my past, but my brain couldn't connect the dots. When I turned around, I didn't know her. She was thin, frail, strung out, her skin covered in MRSA, and then it hit me. This was someone I had spent time with inside, my tattoo artist. A woman who was gorgeous, talented, and full of life. Her ink is all over me. She gave me pieces of herself during those really dark years. But the person standing in front of me was not her, not anymore. She started talking, fast and disjointed, telling me about her release and how she got out and met up with the officer from the yard. They started using together fentanyl, running the streets, and now they were living on the side of a building. Her boyfriend was slumped over and refused to look at me. I didn't know what to say. I went inside, grabbed food and Gatorade, and brought it back out and gave it to her. She did not ask me for money. She didn't beg me for help. She congratulated me, and she told me she was proud of me. And then I told her, "You need to get sober. You're better than this. Go take care of yourself." She nodded. She said she was trying, and she told me they were trying to plan on leaving that side of town. 2 days later, her face was on the news. She and her boyfriend were gunned down, and she died on the street. That broke something in me. It wasn't the first loss, and it wouldn't be the last. Another woman I lived next to in the dorms, a young woman who made crepes out of scraps that we could get in prison, was gone too. She was brilliant, resourceful, and she had a future waiting for her. She got out and overdosed within a week. When you survive something that takes so many others, it changes you. Prison didn't just teach me to be tough. It taught me that life doesn't give second chances to everyone. For the first time in my life, I was terrified, truly. I didn't want to be another story. I didn't want to be the person who didn't make it out. So I locked myself down. I didn't take any risks. I didn't reach out. I didn't trust myself to stand tall if I ran into someone who hadn't made it. And for years, that is how I survived. But here's the thing. Survival isn't enough anymore. Now I'm starting to reconnect with the people who made it out too. People who understand what it means to climb out of that dark place and fight like hell to stay out. It's scary, but it's worth it. Because these connections remind me of something important. We weren't meant to do this alone. So, life after prison is heavy. It's complicated. It's not a straight path. But I know this. The people who walked through those fires with me are the ones who truly understand the fight. I have sacrificed a lot to save myself, and now I'm ready to do much more than survive. I'm ready to build something much bigger. Who's with me?